Hi everyone, welcome to another Mama Elephant intro video. This is Rena. We have Circle of Friends today. I wanted to show you some of the coordinating dies. To the right, you'll see kind of that weird 5-pronged piece that cuts the inside of the Circle of Friends stamp, which is the 5 little animals. So I kind of wanted to show you all the different combinations that you can do. So the circle, obviously it cuts out a circle, but you can stamp out the Circle of Friends behind it, and you can kind of peek through that circle into that stamp. You can just cut out the Circle of Friends just with the circle and make it look like that, or you can cut it out just the inner piece, just so it kind of looks like kind of wheels, spokes on a wheel. And then you can also use the dies at the same time, and you can come out with this interesting piece here. You cut it out with a circle, and then you cut out the inner piece, and then you kind of get that. So there's different ways to use this stamp set with the coordinating dies. I thought it would be fun to make 3 different cards today using this stamp set with its coordinating dies. First, I'm going to make a mini tunnel card. I'm going to cut out a sheet of paper 10.5 by 3.5, and I'm just cutting out, I believe, just 1/2 inch there to get my 10.5 inches. I'm going to score it first at 3.5, and then I'm going to score it at 7 inches. And then I'll go ahead and fold that in. So I'm just going to cut out just a sliver at the end of that so my piece can fold really nicely. And that's the, I guess, the side to the right. Just a sliver, tiny sliver, just so when you fold it in, it'll fold flat and nice. And then I'm going to reinforce my score lines. And then I'll have kind of a tri-fold situation there. Taken my coordinating dies, and I've used a circle die to cut out that left panel, and then the right panel, I've used the inner die to cut that shape out. And then on a separate piece of paper, I've used both dies, and I've stamped out the Circle of Friends animal to get sort of this piece here. And I'm going to layer it on top of that right panel where I cut out the insert. And that way I'll have a nice, clean, stamped image that after I color it, it won't show through the back. For that middle panel, I'm just cutting a little piece of pattern paper, so when you fold the piece, it'll peek through this rainbow pattern paper. I'm going to stamp a little sentiment. This is from the Circle of Friends stamp set. I'm just stamp it in the middle, and then I'm going to go ahead and color my images here. I'm just coloring these really simply, and I just want to make sure that I am kind of mimicking the pattern paper that I used on that middle panel, just so everything coordinates nicely. After I'm done coloring these images, I'm going to take the 2 coordinating dies, the circle one, which will cut out a circle all around this, and then also the inner 5-prong die, which will cut out the inside. And I will be left with kind of this piece here. And then I'm going to take that, put some glue, and then I'm going to adhere it on top of the right panel where we cut out just using that inner piece. And it looks really nice and finished. Super simple card, and as you can see there, since we layered the coloring on top, there's no bleeding on the other side. And here is the completed card. I love how tiny it is too. So now we're going to make a shaker card, my favorite. I've cut that rainbow piece of paper, just the circle die, and then I've stamped out the Circle of Friends, and it's on a little square sheet of paper. And then I used the inner 5-prong die to cut it out, and I glued that behind the pattern paper, so it kind of has a little tunnel look. I'm going to put my acetate behind that piece. And then I'm going to put my double-sided foam tape, and I like to remove the release paper from both sides, and that way you can maneuver the double foam tape around that circle shape. And then after I do that, I'm going to fill in the rest of the card with foam tape just so everything is even and nothing bows. So I'm just going to fill up all that empty space with the foam tape. Once you've filled all the little crevices with double foam tape, it's time for the fun part, to put all the little sequins in. I like to always match my card. So we're going to do just a plethora of rainbow sequins. Super fun. When I'm done with that, I'm just going to seal the back with my backer piece. I like to just cut that just like a hair smaller so I don't have to be exact. Of course, I forgot to stamp my sentiment, so I'm going to do that really quickly. I'm going to stamp out birthday wishes from Scripty Bday, another one of my favorites. I also have a little sentiment here from birthday messages, and I always like to add like a little bit and mix up the fonts. Just so there's more interest, and I'm going to call this card done. I will mount it on a card base, and that is it for this card. I'm going to do kind of a traditional tunnel card here. First, I'm going to make a card base, 4¼ by 5½ inch regular card base. And then I'm going to take another piece here. I'm going to fold it like a card base, but from that middle score line, I'm going to also score 2 inches away from that middle score line and 2 inches after, just so there's a 2-inch mark on either side of that middle score line. And that's kind of going to help me create the little tunnel effect when you open up the card. I'm going to do some folds where I did the scoring. So you kind of fold it like a regular card base. And then for the 2-inch folds away from the middle, you're going to do, I would say this is a valley fold. And then that's going to be adhered on the inside of your card base. It will make more sense as we start making the card, but this is kind of how it's going to look like. And then when you open it up, there's going to be that nice little surprise there. So that inner piece, I'm going to decorate it up a little bit. I'm going to take my landscape trio dies, and this is going to be kind of a horizontal card. And then the top portion, I'm going to use the cloud die, and the bottom portion, I'm going to use a hill die. And I'm going to reserve that little hill that gets cut out because I'm going to use that part there for the front of the card. So I'm not going to need that cloud piece, but I will reserve that hill piece. So on the middle of that piece that we just die cut, I'm going to stamp out my circle of friends. And I'm going to try to make it not land on the fold. So that's why I'm using my Misty there. And then I'm going to stamp out my Wild Meadow stamps. I wanted to use this so badly. I haven't gotten a chance to use it yet, so I figured this would be the perfect card for it. Since we're going to have that middle portion have a peak, I want it to peek through some rainbow paper. So I'm just adhering a little bit there, just the portion that is going to have the hole and that you can see through. I die cut using that 5-pronged coordinating die, just so you could see the little animals peeking out there, and on the middle, I'm stamping out a sentiment. I'm going to add a little color to the clouds, just a little bit of tumbled glass, lightly blended, and then I will be coloring the Wild Meadow pretty simply using Copic markers. So after stamping the circle of friends, I did use my 5-prong die cut just to cut out the inner section of that stamp set. So you can see that there's a hole that's sort of making a tunnel effect into the pattern paper. I think this die is like really interesting, and I like all the different techniques that you can use. So I'm taking that middle Mountain Valley piece that we made and stamped and colored, and I'm adhering it to the inside of my card base. So when you open it up, it pops up, and then you can see through the circle of friends into a rainbow peace and sentiment. So that little hill that we reserved, I'm just lightly ink blending it with cracked pistachio. And then I'm going to stamp out a couple more images. Here is the stamp set, birthday messages. And then I've also stamped out some two little critters. This is from the Circle of Friends stamp set, and I'm just putting them above the sentiment. And then I've cut out a panel with the wood grain panel. And then I'm just going to do it really simply because the inside's kind of crazy. So I kind of want the outside to be super simple. I had an extra image, and you guys know I don't like wasting images. So he's going to go on the inside of the card in that wild meadow. And then I'm going to adhere that simple panel we made in front of our card base. I love how this card came out. It's really thick too, but it's so nice when you open it and you see the little surprise inside. And that's going to do it. I hope you enjoyed this card. I hope you enjoyed the 3 techniques that you can use with the Circle of Friends stamps and also the coordinating dies. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. If you haven't already, make sure you tap on that bell to make sure you're notified of future videos and subscribe. I hope you have an awesome day. Happy crafting. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.